Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Neospatians. Neospatians are a really fun deck and I've been enjoying them a lot on the ladder. I'm going to stream them today and hopefully you guys enjoy the games. So check out the VOD and the replay video and the combo guide if you're interested. But for right now, let's go over the cards. So the goal of the Neospatian deck is to summon this monster. Elemental Hero Nebula Neos. This is a level 9 warrior fusion monster that requires Elemental Hero Neos, Neospatian Grand Mole, and Neospatian Dark Panther. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then negate the effects of one face-up card on the field until the end of this turn. It's an excellent card. It allows you to, if your opponent tries to build a huge board going second, and you manage to assemble the pieces and activate Miracle Contact, you can then draw, let's say, 6 or 7 cards, and then you also negate a card your opponent controls without targeting it. This can very easily set you up to find new lethal paths. Basically, resetting your hand to this extent after your opponent has already used everything is a great way to finish them off. So this is one of the best tools for going second that exists in the game, to be honest. Imagine that you've played through an entire turn, your opponent's tired, you're tired, they're using cards based on the number of cards left in your hand. You have like 1 card left, your opponent has used up their last negate, and they still have like a battle protection, right? You activate Miracle Contact, you summon Nebula Neos, you turn off their battle protection, then you refill your hand, and now your opponent is in trouble. Once per turn during the end phase, you can shuffle this card into the extra deck, and if you do, banish all cards on the field face down. Now this is the only problem. If you fail to kill your opponent with Nebula Neos, you have to get rid of it. Otherwise, you are going to lose your entire board. But you can stop this from happening if you play Neos Fusion. Alright, so that is our turn 2 play. And then for going first, we make this card. Elemental Hero Cosmo Neos. This is a level 11, 3500 attack, 3000 defense. Requires Elemental Hero Neos plus 3 Neospatian monsters with different attributes. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, your opponent can activate cards. Also, cards your opponent controls can activate their effects. Your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to this effect's activation. So what does that mean? Your opponent can still summon cards. They can still normal summon, they can still Xyz summon, Link summon, Synchro summon, and that's it. They can't ritual or fusion summon. They can contact use. But any cards that they control can activate their effects. So if they have, like, if they summon their Fiendsmith's Lacrima, they can summon Fiendsmith's Lacrima, they could link it into Requiem, but they won't send a card from their deck to the graveyard, and they won't be able to trade into Engraver from the deck. They also cannot activate cards, so they can't play spell cards from their hand, for example. Any spell card that they have, when they play it face up on the field, that's activating it. So they'll have to set it face down. So they can't use like a field spell. They can't activate a continuous spell. They can't activate a normal spell or even like a trap card from the hand. You can't like imperm. You can't evenly matched. All you can do is set cards and play monsters face up on the field. Really, really good card. And obviously your opponent can't respond to it either, which means that they can't stop you from resolving the effect. And so you make this card going first by setting Favorite Contact while you have the necessary tools in your graveyard, and then you just punish your opponent. It's really, really good. And then you basically skip your opponent's turn, and then you win the game. And your opponent can still go into the battle phase, but as long as you make World Sea Dragon Zealantis, it doesn't matter, because any cards they summon will get destroyed by your Zealantis. Now, it is important to note that effects can activate if they are in the graveyard. It's not cards your opponent controls. So your opponent can activate cards. They can activate the effects of cards in their hand and in the graveyard. So for example, they could special summon like a Bestial monster, because Bestial monster's effect is activating in the hand, not a card they control. And they can activate the effects of, like, if you destroy one of their cards and it has an effect that activates in the graveyard, that can still activate. So those are the limitations of Cosmo Neos. Keep that in mind. It's not like your opponent can't do anything at all. but they are very limited in what they can do. Alright, so with that strategy in mind, let's take a look at the rest of the deck. We are playing 2 copies of Elemental Hero Neos. A new Elemental Hero has arrived from Neospace. When he initiates a contact fusion with a Neospatian, his unknown powers are unleashed. Really good card. We played it 2. You could argue that 3 is necessary. You definitely need at least 2, though, because what if you draw one of them? You can't summon it from the deck then. I like this card a lot. It's really good for the deck. Next up, we have Infernoble Knight Renaud. This is a level 1 Fire Warrior monster. If you control a Fire Warrior monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, treat this card as a tuner. You can only special summon Infernoble Knight Renaud once per turn this way. If this card is special summoned, you can target one of your Fire Warrior monsters or one of your equipped spells that is banished in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. So Renaud is a really good card for Isolde, and there's nothing wrong with that. So you use Isolde and Renaud to go into your Cross Sheep and win the game. Fire Flint Lady, this is a level 1 Fire Warrior monster. If you control a warrior, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can send this card from your field to the graveyard to special summon a level 4 lower warrior monster from your hand. If you do, your opponent cannot target it with card effects this turn, which means it can't be impermed or effect veiler, which is really good. The reason why we are playing Fire Flint Lady is because it is a target for Isolde if we open our Renaud. So if we get unlucky and in our 60 card deck we open our 1 copy of Renaud, we can still summon Fire Flint Lady from the deck by milling 1 equipped spell. And then Fire Flint Lady happens to be a Fire Warrior monster, so Renaud can just special summon itself from the hand. 2 copies of Max C, very important for when you're playing a 60 card deck. We are not playing Fualos. We don't have room. Crosskeeper. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, special summon an Elemental Hero or a Neospatian monster from your hand or graveyard, but negates effects if it was special summoned from the graveyard. If you special summon an Elemental Hero fusion monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, draw 2 cards, and place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. You can only use each effect for Crosskeeper once per turn. Crosskeeper is a decent card in Heroes. It is insane in Neospatians. There's a few reasons why. Number 1, this card allows you to summon Spirit of Neos from your hand. So if you happen to brick on your Spirit of Neos, Crosskeeper will allow you to just play it from the hand, then you can tag it out into Neos, you can draw a good card, because Spirit of Neos searches all of your best cards, and that's really, really strong. Also, for most hero players, Crosskeeper is a way to recover your resources after you have spent like 3 cards to fusion summon. But for Neospatians play a card called Instant Contact, which is a 1-card spell card that lets you special summon a fusion monster from your extra deck. So Crosskeeper is actually like a +0 in that instance, because you replace the 1 card that you lost from your hand, as opposed to being like a total of like a -2 in most instances when you would play Polymerization in 2 cards. So yeah, really, really solid. For our Neospatians, we are playing 1 of each. Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card, look at your opponent's hand, choose 1 monster. If you chose a monster with attack greater than or equal to the attack of the chosen card, if you control a monster with attack greater than or equal to the chosen card, destroy the chosen card. If you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent, otherwise take 500 damage. So you will either hand rip your opponent, which is really, really good, or if your opponent doesn't have any monsters, or you use this effect when you don't have a strong enough monster on your board, you take 500 damage, which is not that big of a deal, but the bigger cost is that you've discarded a card and you didn't get anything out of it. Neospatian Grand Mole. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can return both the opponent's monster and this card to your hand. Not once per turn. It's an interesting idea. I don't know why this is a rock monster. It's a mole, but whatever. Obviously, this card got upgraded significantly with the release of Elemental Hero Grand Neos, which I don't think this deck is playing. No, that's in our blind second list. But this card is important because it lets you make Nebula Neos. Next up, we have Dark Panther. Dark Panther also allows you to make Nebula Neos. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Until the end phase, this card's name becomes that monster's name. Also replace this effect with that monster's original effects, if any. That's really funny. So when this card was printed, effect monsters weren't all that amazing. But now, effect monsters are kind of insane. Now, granted, if you use Dark Panther's effect on like a monster that has an effect that activates when it's special summoned, or that can special summon itself from the graveyard or something else, that's not super impactful. But if you use this effect on, let's say, SP Little Knight, right? Now, if your opponent activates a card or effect, then you can just be like, oh, I'm going to banish my Dark Panther, and then I'm going to banish one of your cards. Get wrecked, nerd. Really good. Obviously, you would never normal summon this unless you're in a really bad situation, but you can special summon it with the effect of either Engage Neospace or Ian Shuffle. So sometimes the effect comes up. 3 copies of Ash Blossom, obviously, just stops your opponent from special summoning from the deck, which is really good. 2 copies of Elemental Hero Stratos. When this card is normal or special summon, you can activate one of these effects, destroy spells and traps on the field up to the number of hero monsters you control except this card, and add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand. Stratos misses timing. This is super annoying. So, it is important to note there's a very specific interaction that happens in this deck, and you have to be very careful with it. So, we use Cross Sheep, and Cross Sheep we will use to revive Stratos, and we need Stratos to search when that happens. So, how do we, and when we trigger Cross Sheep by special summoning Elemental Hero Sunrise to the zone that Cross Sheep points to. Elemental Hero Sunrise also has the ability to search when it's summoned, and we want that search to resolve as well. So, how do we make sure that Stratos does not miss timing in that instance? What you have to do is you have to activate Cross Sheep's effect as a Chain Link 1. Then you activate Stratos or Sunrise's effect as a Chain Link 2. Sunrise will search you Miracle Fusion, and then Cross Sheep will revive Stratos. Then Stratos can then add a card from your deck to your hand. Now, this goes against your normal thought process, because normally you would want to chain block your search so that you don't get ashed. I'm sorry. If Ash was going to happen, it probably already has. So do not chain block your Sunrise with Cross Sheep. Good. Elemental Hero Prisma. This is a rare card for some reason. If once per turn you can reveal 1 fusion monster from your extra deck, then send 1 fusion material whose name is mentioned on that card from your deck to the graveyard, and Prisma's name becomes the sent monsters until the end of the turn. Just like Lunalight Kaleido Chick, this is send for cost, which means that Prisma's effect will still send a card if it is negated by the effects of Infinite Impermanence or Effect Veiler. It can't be ashed, and it also triggers if Prisma's effect is straight up negated. For example, if it's under Skill Drain, or if the card is revived from the graveyard with the effect of Crosskeeper, because Crosskeeper says if you special summon from the graveyard, the effect is negated. Regardless, Prisma can still send a card from the deck to the graveyard. Its name won't change, but we don't care about that. All we care about is dumping as many Neospacians from our deck into the graveyard as possible. Good card, and it's a soft once per turn, so you can reset it with Xelantis, which is what we do. Vision Hero Vion. This is a UR, but it is in the Hero Structure deck, so 500 Dust will get you this. Or 500 Gems. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn, you can banish a hero monster from your graveyard to add Polymerization from your deck to your hand. Vision Hero Vion is not an elemental hero, which means it cannot be used to make Infernal Rage. Keep that in mind. Good card otherwise. Elemental Hero Shadow Mist. Speaking of Vion, if this card is special summon, you can add a Change Quick Play spell from your deck to your hand. We don't run one. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 hero monster from your deck to your hand except Shadow Mist. So you will normal summon Vion, mill Shadow Mist, draw Polymerization. Shadow Mist adds whatever you need. Good card. Elemental Hero Blazeman. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Polymerization from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except fusion monsters. Also, send 1 Elemental Hero from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card's attribute and attack and defense become the same as the sent monsters until the end of the turn. Okay. You can only use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. So, Blazeman. The reason why we play Blazeman is because it is a hero monster that draws this Polymerization, unlike Vion. So this card can be used to make Infernal Rage. Now, the second effect, very important. Unlike most cards that say you can't special summon from the extra deck except fusion monsters, this card is you cannot special summon monsters except fusion monsters. If you activate Blazeman's effect, you cannot special summon from your hand or your graveyard for the rest of the turn. I know That's really stupid, and that's probably why they stopped doing this. But this card's super old, so it was printed back when special summoning from the hand wasn't really a thing. Cool. Keep that in mind. Blazeman can be used to mill Shadow Mist to draw you a card, but then you won't be able to special summon anything, so unless you have Polymerization in your hand already. So keep that in mind. Good card. Elemental Hero Liquid Soldier. When this card is normal summon, you can target a level 4 or lower a hero monster in your graveyard and special summon it. If this card is used as fusion material for a hero monster and sent to the graveyard or banished, you can draw 2 cards and then discard a card. This card's really good for making Infernal Rage. The reason why a lot of people like to play Liquid Soldier is it gives you easier access to Absolute Zero. I have not been able to find space in the extra deck for Absolute Zero. And to be honest, when you summon Absolute Zero, there's not an easy way to send it to the graveyard either. So, we are not playing Absolute Zero in this list, but you could cut something reasonably and try and put it in there if you wanted to. Next up, we have Honest Neos. As a quick effect, you can discard this card, target a hero monster in the graveyard. It gains 2,500 attack until the end of this turn. Or as a quick effect, you can discard 1 hero monster, and this card gains attack equal to the discarded monster's attack until the end of the turn. So, you might think, Serafi, why are you reading the second effect? There's no way you're going to summon Honest Neos. Who cares? It's true, but here's something cool that you can do. Something cool that you can do is you can make Elemental Hero Divine Neos. And Divine Neos has the effect of once per turn, you can banish a Neos monster, a Neospace monster, a Neospatian monster, or a hero monster from your graveyard, and this card gains 500 attack until the end phase. It also gains the banished monster's effects. So what you can do if you need to kill your opponent, and we don't have Trinity in this deck, keep in mind, you can summon Divine Neos, you can activate Honest Neos' effect, you can raise Divine Neos' attack points by 2,500 to 5,000. Then you can activate Divine Neos' effect, banish Honest Neos from the graveyard, goes up to 5,500. Now it has the second effect, so you can discard another hero monster, and then Divine Neos gains that monster's attack points. So this is the rare deck that cares that Honest Neos has a second effect. Which, to be honest, before I started playing this deck, I had never even read the rest of this card. It's cool, actually. Alright. Next up, we have 2 copies of Elemental Hero Spirit of Neos. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle forever. Cannot be destroyed by battle as a lingering effect is really annoying. It is genuinely a very frustrating thing to deal with, especially since it comes down during the battle phase, not during the main phase. So your opponent does not have the opportunity to remove it from the field with a card effect unless they somehow can do that during the battle phase. Very good card for stopping your opponent. If this card is special summon, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 Polymerization or 1 Spell or Trap that mentions an Elemental Hero monster by card name. So that's every one of our Elemental Hero Neos cards. During your main phase, you can shuffle this card into the deck. If you do, special summon 1 Elemental Hero normal monster from your deck. So it tags out in a Neos, which is really good. Alright, so targets for this, we have Miracle Contact, which mentions Elemental Hero Neos. We have Neos Fusion, which mentions Elemental Hero Neos. We have Engage Neospace, which mentions Elemental Hero Neos. We have Instant Contact, which mentions Elemental Hero Neos. And we have Aeon Shuffle, which mentions Elemental Hero Neos. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cards that Spirit of Neos can search, along with getting you Polymerization, which is insane. Alright. Next up, we have Rainbow Dragon. This card is used to make Rainbow Neos. Remember that Rainbow Neos is not a hero monster. Good times. 2 copies of Poly, good card. Foolish Burial. Send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can use this to mill Shadow Mist so that you can draw Stratos and start your turn. Or if you're in the middle of your turn and you draw into this with like Saryuja, you can use it to mill a Neospatian to make sure that you have enough cards to make Cosmo Neos. Good card. It's also extremely good Ash bait, by the way. Like, if your opponent does not know what you're playing, and you activate Foolish Burial, 100% it's getting ashed. They are terrified of this card, for good reason. Okay. Rhoda, so, we are playing 2 copies of E-Emergency Call, and we're playing 2 copies of Stratos, and we're playing 3 copies of Hero Lives. You have lots of ways to search hero cards. Rhoda adds a warrior monster, not a hero card. Now, granted, a lot of the time you will use it to draw Stratos, or maybe Vion, but if you already have good cards in your hand, this card can actually be used to search Crosskeeper. It's the only way to search Crosskeeper, and that's really good for you. So keep that in mind. This is one of the most important tools you have in your arsenal. Being able to search Crosskeeper can open up a whole lot of lines, since it allows you to extend from the hand with your bricks. One of the biggest problems that we have is that there's no easy way to make a sold in this deck except with a Hero Lives. So if your a Hero Lives gets negated, Crosskeeper can get a second monster onto your field, allowing you to link into a sold. And it can also, of course, activate your Spirit of Neosis effect. So, good card. Alright, let's see. And, of course, remember, Aqua Dolphin is a warrior monster, so Aqua Dolphin can be used to make a sold. Alright. Okay, Miracle Fusion. Fusion summon an elemental hero fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. Good card, searched by Sunrise. Emergency Call. Add one elemental hero monster from your deck to your hand. Only elemental hero monsters. You cannot use this to draw Vion. A Hero Lives. What an insane card. We only have one card combo in the deck, and it is this card. But that's good, because this card is crazy. If you control no face-up monsters, pay half your life points. Special summon one level 4 or lower elemental hero monster from your deck. Not once per turn. It does require you to control no monsters. But if this gets ashed, you can play another one. Which is really, really good. Obviously, our target for this is almost always Stratos. It doesn't matter if we already have Stratos, because Stratos is not once per turn. So, fantastic card. It gives us tons of extension. It gives us tons of search. We would play this at 20 if we could. Sadly, we have a 60-card deck. If you want to build a 40-card version of this deck, you probably could, but you would have a lot of trouble fitting all the pieces in. But regardless, just play this card at 3 and you'll be fine. Miracle Contact. Shuffle into the deck from your hand, field, or graveyard the fusion materials that are listed on an elemental hero fusion monster that mentions elemental hero Neos, then special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Alright. Miracle Contact is basically Miracle Fusion, but it allows you to contact fuse from the graveyard. So, this is a great way to just get out your Nebula Neos. And that is, that is basically all we use it for, is just to get Nebula Neos in the middle of our turn. Good card. Neos Fusion. Special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists exactly 2 monsters as material, including elemental hero Neos. By sending those monsters from your hand, deck, or field, ignoring their summoning conditions, for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon. So this card prevents you from special summoning in any way. So, when we go first, we use this to make Aqua Neos, and we hand rip our opponent, and then we pass. And this allows us to get both Elemental Hero Neos and Neospacian Aqua Dolphin in our graveyard, which allows us to easily activate Favorite Contact during our opponent's turn to summon Cosmo Neos. If we go second, we will use this to make Rainbow Neos, which is 4,500 attack points, and it rips our opponent's entire board to shreds. Good enough for the last card of the turn. If a fusion monster you control that lists Elemental Hero Neos' material would be destroyed by battle or card effect, or shuffled into the extra deck by its own effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So this allows you to stop your monsters from being destroyed, which is also very, very strong. Currently playing this card at 2, I am heavily leaning towards getting a third copy and finding something to cut, because this card's really, really good. Talent. If your opponent has activated a monster effect during your main phase this turn, activate one of these effects, draw 2, take control of one monster your opponent controls, and look at your opponent's hand, choose one card from it to shuffle into the deck. Hopefully they limit this card to 1 at some point. I don't imagine they're going to ban it since it's one of the cards that they offer in the shop. But, man, this card is annoying. We already hand rip. Hand ripping is a thing in this deck, so I will accept it. But being able to non-targeted take control of your opponent's monster is really, really strong. Never sleep on this card. It's really good. Alright, EN Engage Neospace. Send one Neospacian and one hero monster from your hand and deck to the graveyard to special summon a Neospacian or a level 5 or higher elemental hero monster from your deck. If you do, add Polymerization from your deck or graveyard to the hand. If you special summon elemental hero Neos by this effect, it gains 1,000 attack points. And that's literally only written there so that you can search it. With Spirit of Neos. You cannot special summon from the extra deck except fusion monsters that turn you activate this card. So this card stops you from playing Isolde, which is really, really frustrating. There are ways that you can use this to get a good end board and get your Cosmonios, but it requires, I think the other card you need is, what is the other card that you need? Neos Fusion. And that's, as long as you have engaged Neospace and Neos Fusion, you can still make the full combo go off, but you have to be pretty careful with this card. The artwork is fantastic, but locking yourself can be quite difficult to deal with. Instant Contact. Pay 1,000 life points. Special summon one level 7 or lower elemental hero or Neospatial monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. While elemental hero Neos is neither on your field nor in your graveyard, the special summon monster cannot attack. Its effects are negated. Also, it returns to the extra deck during the end phase. This is very weirdly worded. It makes it sound like if you summon or discard elemental hero Neos, the monster gets its effect back. That is not the case. It checks it. It checks for whether Neos is on the field or in the graveyard at the resolution of instant contact, and then it, like, the monster is negated and at that point. So they don't have Air Neos on this card's artwork. What the heck? What the heck? There are 6 Neospatians. There aren't 5. Come on now. Dark Neos, Aqua Neos, Glow, whatever this card is called. I think it's called Glow Neos. Magma Neos, and Grand Neos. What the heck, Konami? I know that Air Neos is never getting reprinted, but it's still a playable card. This is disrespectful. Alright, whatever. The summon monster cannot attack, its effects are negated, also it returns to the extra deck during the end phase. So you use this to search, you can either play Aqua Neos and hand rep your opponent, or you can play Sunrise and draw Miracle Fusion. It's a fantastic card. Also, this card triggers, like I said, it triggers Crosskeeper, and it also triggers Cross Sheet. Because you're special summoning a fusion monster. It doesn't matter that you're not fusion summoning it. Good card. EN Shuffle. This is another card that I'm heavily considering going to 3 of. Shuffle one elemental hero or Neospatial monster you control into the deck. If you do special summon an elemental hero or a Neospatial monster with a different name from your deck, you can banish this card from your graveyard and shuffle into your graveyard, from your graveyard into your deck, either one elemental hero monster and a Neospatial monster, or exactly Neos if you do draw a card. Good card. Basically, you use this to tag any of your monsters into Spirit of Neos, and then you just play the rest of the game. DDR, Different Dimension Reincarnation. Discard a card, target one of your banished monsters, special summon an attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. Good card. We can use this with Isolde. Axe of Fools. The equipped monster gains 1,000 attack points, also its effects are negated. Once per turn during your standby phase, inflict 500 damage to the controller of the equipped monster. This is basically, just, it's a negate. There are very few negates in this deck. We have to play 4 equipped spells so that we can use Isolde to summon a level 4 from the deck if we need to. And Axe of Fools makes the most sense as like a card that if we draw it, we can still use it. Living Fossil, this is basically DDR, but for the graveyard. Activate by targeting a level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. When this card leaves the field, banish the equipped monster. The equipped monster loses 1,000 attack and defense, also its effects are negated. Not a very good card for us. It does allow us to link summon or fusion summon, but for the most part, that's not super useful. So, not a card that you're going to be looking for like a normal Living Fossil deck would. And then lastly, Infernoble Arms Durandal, which allows you to destroy it to add a level 5 or lower Fire Warrior monster from your deck to your hand. You have 3 targets: Blazeman, Fire Flint Lady, and Renaud. Good enough. It allows you to draw Blazeman if your opponent has no monster out when you're going second. Call by the Grave, negate hand traps. Crossout Designator, negate hand traps. Forbidden Droplet allows us to negate monster effects when we're going second. The reason why we play this card is because we play so many spell cards, and you can chain, like if your opponent has Marone and they try to negate your Hero Lives, you can activate Forbidden Droplet and send Hero Lives to stop that. Also, a Forbidden Droplet is really, really good with Desiree, because with Desiree, Desiree can only negate face-up cards on resolution, you can simply pitch the card that you want to not be negated by Desiree with Forbidden Droplet. Desiree will still be able to negate Forbidden Droplet. Or no, it won't, because you're activating Forbidden Droplet in response. Never mind. Yeah, so yeah, then you don't even need to negate Desiree's effect, because Desiree's effect has already been used in that one. Favorite contact, special summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions a hero monster's material, ignoring its summoning conditions by placing the fusion materials mentioned on the bottom of your deck in the order from among cards in your hand, field, graveyard, or banished. If you place elemental hero Neos into the deck, neither player can return the monster special summoned by this effect to the extra deck. You can only use activate one favorite contact per turn. So, you summon your Cosmo Neos during your opponent's draw phase, their turn is shut off, and then Cosmo Neos also can't shuffle itself back into the deck. Really good. This is searchable, by the way. And then lastly, Red Reboot. When your opponent activates a trap, negate the activation. If you do, set the card face down. Then they can set one other trap from their deck, but for the rest of the turn, they cannot activate any trap cards. Lab is still a thing. Never forget. You can activate this card from your hand by paying half your life points. Alright. For the extra deck, Dark Neos. Fusion of Neos and Neospatian Dark Panther. It allows you to target an effect monster on the field and negate its effects while you control Dark Neos. Good card. Aqua Neos. Fusion of Neos and Aqua Dolphin. Once per turn, you can discard one card, destroy one random card in your opponent's hand. Insane. Sunrise. Must be fusion summoned. Monsters you control gain 200 attack for each attribute you control. If this card is special summoned, you can add one Miracle Fusion from your deck to your hand. Not if it's fusion summoned, which is really good. When an attack is declared involving another hero monster you control, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. Also very good. Shining Neos Wingman. Must be fusion summoned. Gains 300 attack for each monster in your graveyard. Also cannot be destroyed by card effects. It's a fusion of Elemental Hero Neos and a Wingman fusion monster. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of different attributes among monsters on the field. A multi-destruction effect that is not targeted is very difficult to deal with. Your opponent cannot respond to you activating this effect by, say, activating a trap card they want to use, because after they do that, you will just choose a different card. So it's just a really, really good card to clear your opponent's entire board. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack once. Good card. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman Infernal Rage. Fusion of two Elemental Hero monsters with different attributes. Must be fusion summoned. If this card is special summoned, you can add one card with favorite in its name from your deck or graveyard to your hand, so it draws you favorite contact. You contribute this card that was fusion summoned using Neos as material. Special summon one level 7 or lower Elemental Hero monster from your deck or extra deck that cannot be normal summoned or set, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, this allows you to summon either Dark Neos for a negate, Aqua Neos to pop a card from your opponent's hand, or Sunrise to draw Miracle Fusion. Good card. Nebula Neos we already talked about. Cosmo Neos we already talked about. Rainbow Neos. Fusion of Elemental Hero Neos plus one Rainbow Dragon. It must be fusion summoned with the above materials. Once per turn, you can activate one of these effects. Send a monster you control to the graveyard. Shuffle all monsters your opponent controls into the deck. To OTK. Good. Send one spell or trap you control to the graveyard. Shuffle all spells and traps your opponent controls into the deck. Also, very good for dealing with floodgates. Send one card from the top of your deck to the graveyard. Shuffle all cards from your opponent's graveyard into the deck. This will end the game against some decks. There are some decks like Fiendsmith that recycle constantly. Blue Eyes Primate also shuffles constantly. If you cannot get lethal from your position, nuke their graveyard and then beat over something. You will win the game. Actually, reverse. Beat over something, then nuke their graveyard. Elemental Hero Divine Neos must be fusion summoned using any 5 Neos, Neospatian, Neospace, or Hero monsters, including at least one Neos or Neospace monster, one Neospatian monster, and one Hero monster, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. And I've already talked about what it does. Isolde, Two Tails of Noble Knights. Link 2 requires 2 warrior monsters. If this card is link summoned, you can add a warrior monster from your deck to your hand, but for the rest of the turn, you cannot be normal summon set or special summon monster with that name, nor activate their monster effects. Yes, but we can add Aqua Dolphin and then pitch it so that we can use it as fusion material. Good card. You can send any number of equipped spells with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Special summon a warrior monster from your deck whose levels equal to the number of levels sent. So you can send your DDR to special summon Renan, then get back the DDR, or you can send 4 cards to special summon Stratos or Vion so that you can play the game. You can only use each effect once per turn. Cross Sheep. Link 2 requires 2 monsters with different names. If a monster is special summoned to the zone this card points to, you can apply the following effects in sequence based on the card type of some monsters this card is already pointing to. Fusion. Special summon 1 level 4 lower monster from your graveyard. Great card. Extra Hero Infernal Devicer. Requires 2 hero monsters. If this card is link summoned, you can reveal a hero fusion monster in your extra deck, and if you do, add up to 2 of the fusion materials mentioned on that card's name with different names from your deck to your hand. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except hero monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. Alright, so this is the only card in our deck that locks us into heroes, and it locks us into heroes for the entire turn. But what this card does is it allows you to reveal your Nebula Neos to add both Grand Mole and Dark Panther from your deck to your hand. Then all you have to do is get Neos and Aqua Dolphin in your graveyard, usually with Neos Fusion, and you can then summon your Cosmo Neos. So this reduces the strain of actually having to dig through your deck for all the cards that you need, and you can usually make this with Flaming Man, Infernal Rage, and any other hero monster, which will allow you to use Flaming Man to grab your favorite contact and then just link it off. Great option. SP Little Knights. If this card is link summoned using a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster as material, you can target 1 card on the field or in either graveyard and banish it. Also, your opponent's monsters can't attack directly this turn. When this card activates, if your opponent activates a card effect, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a monster you control, banish both until the end phase. Good card. Saryuja Skuldread. It's a link 4 that requires 2 or more monsters with different names. Once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon 1 monster from your hand if you summon this with at least 3 materials. And if you summon it with at least 4, when this card is link summoned, you can draw 4 cards, then place 3 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. So you will usually make this with 3 monsters and special summon Prisma from your hand, but if you need to, you can also use all 4 monsters so that you can reset your hand, look for some hand traps, or some needed materials. Good card. World Sea Dragon Zealantis requires 1 effect monster, so you can link summon this by using Saryuja as your material. During your main phase, you can banish all monsters on the field and special summon as many monsters that were banished by this effect to their owner's field face up or in face down defense position, and during the battle phase as a quick effect, you can destroy monsters on the field, cards on the field up to the number of co-link monsters on the field. Good card. So, what this card does, it allows you to reactivate the effects of cards like Prisma and Stratos, but it cannot resummon a monster that was not properly summoned. For example, if you special summoned your Elemental Hero Sunrise off of the effect of your Infernal Rage, that is not a fusion summon, so it cannot be special summoned from the banished zone. Just keep that in mind. Alright, that is the deck. Now let's take a look at the replay. We are going first versus Machina, and here is our 1-card combo. We activated a Hero Lives, pay off our life points, special summon Stratos. Stratos add Vion. Then we normal summon Vion, and with Vion we're going to mill our Spirit of Neos and then banish it from our graveyard to draw Polymerization. Then we link these 2 monsters off into our Isolde. Since we link summon Isolde, we cannot use Engage Neospace for the rest of the turn. We're going to add Aqua Dolphin, then we're going to mill our DDR to special summon Renaud. Renaud, grab back the DDR, and then we activate DDR, and we send Aqua Dolphin from our hand to the graveyard to special summon the Spirit of Neos. And with Spirit of Neos, we're going to add Instant Contact from our deck to our hand, then we're going to use Spirit of Neos to tag into the Neos. Now we'll link these 2 monsters together in order to summon our Cross Sheet, and then we'll activate Instant Contact to special summon Sunrise to the zone Cross Sheet points to. Since we control Neos, Sunrise is not negated, so Cross Sheet effect activates as a Chain Link 1 to make sure that Stratos will resolve, and then Sunrise is a Chain Link 2. We add Miracle Fusion from our deck to our hand, then we special summon Stratos, and Stratos' effect will let us add Prisma. Now we activate Polymerization. We're going to fuse the Stratos and the Neos into our Infernal Rage, and that will allow us to add Favorite Contact. Next up, we activate Flaming Man's effect, and we're going to summon our Aqua Dolphin. Then we'll use Aqua Dolphin's effect. We pitch the Engage Neospace we can't use to pop 1 card of our opponent's hand. Activate the Infernoble Arms Durandal that we have. This is not part of our 1-card combo, but we're going to be using in the real game. You just use the cards that are in your hand. So we're going to add Fireflint Lady with that, and we're going to special summon it so that we can link into our Saryuja. This was a mistake on my part, by the way. So you just special summon the Prisma Mill, and then link into Zealantis. I was thinking that I could use Sunrise as material to make SP Little Knight afterwards, but I should have used literally any monster other than Sunrise, because I couldn't resummon it. Alright, we activate Prisma's effect, and we're going to mill our Neospacian Dark Panther. And now we're going to activate Miracle Fusion, because we don't have a second monster to make SP Little Knight, so we're going to make one. We banish all of the cards from our graveyard, because our only target left is Divine Neos. But the good news is, this works out. Because with Divine Neos, we can now banish the Aqua Neos in our graveyard, and reuse its effect. We're going to discard the Forbidden Droplet to hand rip our opponent again. Then we link into SP Little Knight. Now our opponent discarded Machina Fortress, which is terrifying, but we can banish it from the graveyard with Little Knight. We set our favorite contact and we pass turn. It is our opponent's turn. They only have 4 cards in their hand. We activate favorite contact. He responds with Urgent Schedule, which is really good that he can activate that during the draw phase. Thankfully, we have Ash, so we stop that. Alright, now we fuse all the monsters that are banished into our Cosmo Neos and activate its effect. Our opponent cannot activate cards this turn. They normal summon Machina Gearframe, which has the effect when this card is normal summon, you can add a Machina monster from your deck to your hand. It doesn't activate because of Cosmo Neos, so then he's going to rank it up into Super Star Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis, which prevents us from activating the effects of monsters that have 3,000 or more attack points. It would also normally allow him to pitch one of our monsters back to the deck, but he can't activate it. So then he goes into the battle phase. And actually, he goes in the battle phase and then he realizes his mistake and he tries to end the battle phase, thinking that maybe he can avoid it if he doesn't attack. But as soon as he goes to end the battle phase, I get the option to activate World Sea Dragon Zealantis. And since there's 2 cards co-linked, I can just destroy his Typhon. And that's the game. He passes turn. We can't shuffle back Cosmo Neos because of favorite contact. We draw Rhoda, activate Rhoda, draw Stratos so that we can pop his back row. Normal summon Stratos, pop the back row, and that's lethal. Okay, so we skipped our opponent's entire turn, and we also hand ripped them for 2, and that was off of 2 cards. That was the Durandal and A Hero Lives. So there you go. That's the deck. I think you guys will really enjoy this. My name is Strophy, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.